Welcome back. I'm Richard Hosnout, and I want to welcome you back to this third and concluding sales training video. You know, I looked back across the first two videos that we've done, and I shared them with somebody who I deeply respect, who, if there was an Innovation Hall of Fame, would be in it as a charter member, that good at what they do. And they looked at it and they said to me, Richard, something pretty similar to what I told you in the free video. I can't believe you're selling it for this price. And this is absolutely master class. Doesn't get any better than this sort of training on these particular topics. So I hope you appreciate, and I know I do, I appreciate the opportunity to share this with you. Because as I said in the kind of the beginning, I know the world has many gnarly problems that could be solved with innovation and has lots of opportunities that could be optimized. And I'm hoping that if I can in some small way help make all of you more successful with your innovation, that the world just might become a little bit better place. Okay, let's get down to today. Today we're going to be talking about two things. We're going to be concluding with the last of the innovation best practices. While we're covering it last, it by no means is last in any other way. It is an extremely powerful tool to help you make smarter and better decisions when it comes to innovation. We are so fortunate that Doug Hall and his team spent time developing this. So we'll dive deep into Merwyn Technology and Merwyn Truth Teller research with you in part one of this video. And then I'm going to wrap it all up and put all the pieces kind of together, give you an overview of how all these 8 best practices can work together. So enjoy, learn, and have some fun while you go through this. Thank you. Before we dive into Merwyn, let's quickly review where we've been so far in the first 2 training videos. You've learned that quantum idea generation is the idea generating tool of choice, dramatically better than any other idea generating method that I'm aware of in the world, consistently delivering at least 12 times more ideas than brainstorming, with a quality of ideas that you can never get from brainstorming. So that's quantum idea generation. So you get a lot of ideas. You use that to power the 3 proven process innovation best practices that includes the 10 types of innovation, 30 dimensions of value, and blue ocean strategy. Those 2 in combination help you identify the kinds of innovative solutions necessary to deliver multiple highly meaningful innovative solutions that add up to being dramatically better than your competition. Okay? So that's kind of where we are in the innovation process to this point. But there's some very important work that remains to be done. So let's get into Merwyn and share with you how this tool can help you to quickly, easily, and accurately know 2 things: the chances for success of any and all ideas coming out of your creative session, and their year 1 sales potential on multiple scenarios. Wouldn't that just be very valuable information to you to be able to sort through all the ideas that come out of a quantum idea generating session? This is going to allow smart decision making. Okay? You'll determine whether you have big ideas. You will know whether those ideas rise to the level of being dramatically better than your competition. That's one of the things that you learn from Merwyn. Okay? So a little bit of history on Merwyn. It took 6 years to research and develop. It included a team of multiple PhDs with extensive knowledge of proven research methodologies, analytical skills, and consumer purchase behavior. It cost $20 million to develop, primarily through having to acquire vast marketplace databases using supercomputer analytics and the research team itself. The team leader for all this, you've heard the name before, was Doug Hall at Eureka Ranch. He is an innovation superstar by any measure. He's also as you may have heard, the founder and developer of version 1.0 of quantum idea generation. So Merwyn, this didn't happen overnight. I've known Doug through all of this process, a tremendous amount of work, trial and error, and eventually getting to where they did. Okay, that's how it developed. Now, how does it work? Well, for all the power that you get from Merwyn, it is one of the easiest research methodologies to use. You submit information online. At the heart of it is your customer message. What are you going to say to persuade people to buy this innovative product, along with a bunch of competitive and marketing data inputs to help do the year one sales estimate. Then it's analyzed by software powered by artificial wisdom technology, where it evaluates up to 77 marketing, message, communication, and purchase dimensions, evaluated and benchmarked relative to a database of over 1.2 million data points. Dimensions include hard things like price and soft like emotional perceptions. Fuzzy logic. When Doug first told me this, I said, Doug, you want me to tell people that you use fuzzy logic? Shouldn't we use something like hard logic, proven logic? I said, Richard, that's what UC Berkeley calls it, and that's what we're going to call it. And what it does is it allows soft perceptions to be quantified as degrees of gray instead of black and white. Gives it a level of sensitivity and accuracy that's very, very needed in this type of tool. So that's how Merwyn works. Is it accurate? Well, I could do a big, big data dump on you on this slide of all kinds of stuff. And I'm just going to share a couple of points to underscore the accuracy of Merwyn. In one of the tests, 900 products were evaluated 5 years after their introduction. 34% of the products were still sold 5 years later. Well, back in year one, when the products were introduced, Merwyns were run on all 900 products. And Merwyn predicted that 5 years later, 33.5% of those 900 products were just still being sold, when indeed 34% were. Put another way, an accuracy of 98.5%. Pretty good, huh? Next, in a very different test, Citibank tested 24 direct mail pieces to evaluate response rates. In other words, how persuasive are those direct mail pieces in getting people to buy a product or take action. And Merwyn was 90% accurate in predicting which pieces would have the highest response rate. So, two very different kinds of tests. As I said, anybody wanting a whole lot more data, I've got it. In addition to that, Fortune 500 companies have used Merwyn Truth Teller results. That's the report you get from Merwyn Technology. Results for well over 2 decades to make multi-million-dollar go or no-go decisions on new products and innovations. That's how accurate it is. That's how reliable it is. Okay, so I just told you that there's a Merwyn Truth Teller quantitative research powered by Merwyn Technology. As I've already mentioned, it's highly used by Fortune 1000 companies. You get important data points to make smart decisions. You get quantitative research results that tell you the idea's chances for long-term success with a high degree of accuracy. You also get diagnostics on the strengths and weaknesses of your marketing message, along with an accurate year one sales estimate with multiple scenarios based upon levels of awareness and distribution that you're able to achieve. Well, what do you need to do in terms of the inputs? Well, at the heart of the inputs is the first step to getting accurate data for this early decision making is optimizing the persuasiveness of your ideas, marketing messages. What you see on the screen are the 4 elements that need to be addressed in that persuasive marketing message. You need to be able to tell me the problem that the product solves, the benefits that people are going to get, why they should believe that you can actually deliver those benefits, and why it's different and better than other products. I'll go into more detail in all of this in just a moment. The 3 elements that you are evaluated in the marketing message are how strong is your clear, specific product benefit, namely what do customers get when they buy your product? Your compelling reason to believe that you can actually do what you just said you're going to do. Wouldn't that be nice? And why your product is different and therefore better than other competitive alternatives. And it's that communication, the benefit communication, the reason communication, the difference communication, that the Merwyn analysis uses to evaluate your chances for success, and in particular, does your idea rise to the level of being dramatically better? So very simple, direct inputs, but critical to the evaluation of your ideas. And the importance of these criteria I've already kind of outlined here. The Merwyn Technology evaluates these criteria in determining your chances for success and year one sales estimate. There's other elements that go in terms of marketing inputs and competitive inputs, but at the heart of it is the strength and the persuasiveness of your marketing message. And in a quantum idea generating 2.0 creative session, these three criteria, three elements I just mentioned to you, benefit, difference, and reason, you probably want to use these when you're taking and expressing the ideas coming out of a creative session. In other words, I've got an idea that delivers the benefit of X. The reason people will be able to believe that we can deliver that benefit is Y. And this is how it's different and better than competition. Okay? So those are the three ways that you want to capture the essence of what your idea is. Okay, that covers the essence strength. Let's dive into some details about these three critical elements: benefit, reason, and difference. The Merwyn research gives you some very clear results on the relative importance of having a strong benefit. The research shows that those ideas that have strong benefit communication have almost 3 times the chances for success of ideas that have weak benefit communication. So, is it important for you to make your benefit as strong as you possibly can? You bet your life it is. Okay? So, let's talk benefits a little bit. Here's an example of how to optimize benefit communication, pointing out a major common mistake that people do when they write the marketing message for an idea. They end up communicating features instead of benefits. In the examples I'm going to be giving you in some of these places, they're drawn from my real life experiences, just as this one is. This one goes back a number of years ago when vehicles were experiencing rollovers at an alarming rate. And I went into a Ford dealership looking at a Ford Explorer, which had some rollover problems. And they had a beautiful, expensive color brochure that I was given. And on the front page, it says in the biggest possible font, stabilization control. And I go, sounds good. What is that all about? How does that help me? See, the test of a feature is it doesn't answer how it helps me. It tells me what it is, but it doesn't tell how it helps me. And if you want to get strong benefit communication, you need to communicate how your benefit helps people. So the way they could make that stronger was to tell me first, kind of a weak benefit communication, it reduces rollover risk. The reason I say weak, it's stronger than saying just stabilization control. The reason it's weak is reduces by how much? 1%, 100%, 50%, whatever. I have no idea. In the world of advertising, I kind of say, well, if they say reduction, maybe it's only 5 or 10%. But see how much stronger the benefit gets when you get specific. Reduces rollover risk by 50%. Whoa! All of a sudden, we've got a strong benefit. Now, if I'm interested in this, that's a very important benefit. Now, if I don't care about stabilization control, then any amount of reduction really doesn't matter. But this is a way of making sure that you go from a feature to a benefit to a strong benefit. Let me give you another example. Again, this is drawn from real life experience. I was going through an airport. I've spent my fair share of time in airports, and my shoes needed to be shined. And so came up on a shoe shine stand, and the banner behind it said "Fast Shoe Shine." I looked at my watch and I wondered what they meant by fast, and I said, "Nah, I can't risk it." Why? Why did I pass them by? Because it wasn't specific, and I didn't want to risk that it was a 15 or 20-minute shoe shine. That was their definition of fast. Well, I came back through that same airport about 6 months later, and the owner, interesting, I got a smile on my face when I saw this, said this: 2-minute shoe shine, had changed the sign to 2-minute shoe shine. Well, all of a sudden, the weak benefit of fast now became 2 minutes. Now, that isn't the ultimate, persuasiveness if I need a fast shoe shine. Do I believe it? Are they going to sucker me in with 2 minutes and 15 minutes later they're just getting started or something? But as a benefit statement, fast is just not specific. Better is not specific. 2-minute shoe shine is specific, and I did get my shoe shined. See, it worked. So, on benefits, here's some further advice. When you communicate benefits to customers, you want to communicate fewer rather than more. The research very clearly shows that your chances for success are greater if you communicate only 1 or 2 rather than 3 or more. Now, I've told this to some business owners, and they just kind of go, "Richard, that just doesn't make sense. I've got 5 benefits for my product, and I want to communicate all 5 of them." And so I say, "Go for it." And they start telling me about benefit 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You know what happens at the end of it? I'm doing my best to listen and remember what they're saying, but I haven't got one really clear idea of what they're about. And consumers aren't going to listen to you listing off 5. They just aren't. Advertising doesn't get that much quality attention. So you need to focus on doing one thing really great. That's why Bounty Paper Towels does one thing great: the quicker picker-upper. Consider doing one thing great. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. It's been that forever. Psst, by the way, in my opinion, it's been passed by Tesla as the ultimate driving machine, but don't want to upset too many BMW driver listeners to this. So anyway, consider doing one thing great, and that can make a big difference in consumers remembering your message, and remembering it is the first part of getting to persuasiveness. Okay, let's talk about reason to believe. Okay? If you have a strong reason to believe versus a weak reason to believe, the research shows that you more than double your chances for success. So again, can taking the time to craft a really strong reason to believe that you can deliver the benefits that you just stated important? You bet it is. Okay? Why is this important? I think you already know the answer to this. People are skeptical about advertising. There's research that says 60 to 90% of them distrust advertising, whether it's network ads or internet ads. And before buying, customers must believe your benefit claim. There are few that are willing to take a risk without a reason, or a reason to believe that's not very strong. But you're going to optimize your persuasiveness if you promise a benefit and then you tell people, this is why you can believe we can do what we just said. Some of the greatest examples are infomercials. They're the 30-minute infomercials and the short form 2-minute. Just take a look at them and the reason to believe. When they have a glue that really works, boy, do they put it through torture tests. Putting 2 things together that are very heavy and instantly picking them up. Just take a look at it. If you want world-class reason to believe, look at infomercials. But you also need to make sure that the reason to believe that you're giving is clear to your target audience, and that varies. Last point's very important. In giving a reason to believe, it is all about believing. You tell only the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Some people out there are inclined to fudge and all this other sorts of stuff. And yeah, you may persuade somebody to buy your product, but once they discover that you've lied to them, they will never, never, never buy from you again. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, please. Okay? Here are 5 reason strategies that really work. This is 5 ways you can create a reason to believe that you can deliver the benefits you just promised. First is explain how it works. It's kind of like step 1, you do this, step 2, you do this, step 3, you do this. It can be another way. Here are the ingredients that we put in to make this wonderful tasting food. If people just can see how it works, and you can make it simple and easy to understand, that can be highly effective. Next is personal experience. Not too many automobiles are sold without a test drive, right? Personal experience. Some manufacturers give you a free trial experience or a free sample, or make a small size very affordable so you can gain some personal experience that your product actually does what you promised it would do. Then there's pedigree. The quality of ingredients, the quality of things that you do. One of the best examples of that is International Delight, the non-dairy creamer. They have a chocolate flavor, no surprise. And what is that chocolate flavor? It's Hershey's chocolate, and it's on big and prominent on that front label. So you say, yeah, I want a coffee flavor for my coffee. Boy, this one has Hershey's chocolate. Boy, doesn't get much better than that, right? Then you get testimonials, and testimonials, the effectiveness of them can range all over the place. Some people can give testimonials that are sports stars that you go, and you use this. It's kind of like, as I'm doing this, one of the testimonials that's out there is Gronk, who's tight end for the New England Patriots, giving a testimonial in effect for Tide detergent. And you're going, In other cases, you've got doctors for some products giving testimonials about the effectiveness of things. So there are testimonials, and then there are testimonials. Lastly, there's guarantee. Guarantees can be highly effective and persuasive, strong reasons to believe. But you really need to make it simple, clear, and if something goes wrong, there's no 5 pages of fine print about it all. One of the best guarantees that's been very effective is for LL Bean, and I'll paraphrase what it is. If anything, at any time, goes wrong for any reason with the product, we'll give you a refund. And since they started as a store but then went online for a long time, buying something sight unseen or seen but not experienced and touched and all that, that kind of guarantee really helps. That guarantee was, unfortunately, something that also put them in danger of being in business many years ago. The story goes that they were selling wading boots, and those wading boots, many of them turned out to be leaky, not what you want for wading boots. And they came back in hundreds at a time, threatening the very financial existence because of all the money they had to pay for the guarantee and everything. So, guarantees, personal experience, explain how it works, pedigree, and testimonials, ways of creating highly believable reasons to believe. Here, let me put a few of these things together. Feature, boat for sale. How does that benefit me? What's the benefit of that boat for me? Not clear when you say boat for sale. If you then state it in benefit language, fast boat, you go, I want the benefit of a fast boat, but what the heck is a fast? Yeah, I like fast, is better than slow, I guess. Let's take that benefit up a notch to a strong benefit. Specialized racing boat for those with a passion for winning. Wow. Now, if I'm interested in that, if that's a benefit I want, that is a very strong, specific benefit. Specialized racing boat for those with a passion for winning. Okay, so the bigger the benefit claim gets, boy, the stronger your reason to believe better be. Otherwise, I'm going to go, boy, you had quite of an imagination when you wrote that benefit. What if you coupled this reason to believe with it? Designed by America's Cup champion boat designer. Do you think that person could deliver a specialized racing boat for those with a passion for winning? I think I'm believing it. Okay? You got it? So this is the way you put together persuasiveness. Let's talk about the strength of your difference communication. Boy, is this one important. You can more than triple your chances for success by having a strong difference communication versus weak difference communication. So, how to be dramatically better? Well, we've talked about this. You need multiple highly meaningful benefits that add up to being dramatically better. You want to focus on the benefits that are most important to your customers for your type of product. And you want to add new benefits that enhance and use the current benefits. You want your innovative solution to not be just a little bit better, but you want it to be dramatically better. And there's ways in research, we'll talk about that in Merwyn, and how you do that. Okay? So, you want to focus in being communicating dramatically better. Focus on your value equation. How much people pay for the collection of benefits that they get. Different products in the same category can deliver varying degrees of benefits at varying degrees of price. So that's the value equation. What you want to do is compare value equations to your competitors, and you want to win big on value to achieve dramatically better. It's important to point out here that you can be dramatically better both in terms of your benefit communication and reason to believe. Again, Bounty paper towels is better on both. The benefit statement is it's a quicker picker-upper. Boy, that's what I want. In a paper towel, I want something that absorbs quickly. And then the side-by-side demonstration that they use is a powerful reason to believe. You see it with your own eyes, time after time, year after year. Their competitive advantage, they are dramatically better in their benefit and their reason to believe. Okay? So you can get dramatically better through both. Well, examples of dramatically better, I think, are familiar. The iPhone, when it came out, compared to the flip phones of the time, wow, was that dramatically better. Starbucks. This is it just an amazing phenomenon when it first came out. Wait a minute, it's a retail outlet selling coffee. Instead of getting a cup of coffee for 25 cents, I can spend $3, $4, $5. What? What's that all about? Well, you know the rest of the story with Starbucks. Here's a story that just still amazes me. I had a friend who was in Shanghai, where apparently there is the world's largest Starbucks. It's so big that it's on 2 floors, and it's much bigger than an Apple store on 1 floor, let alone 2, twice as big. And despite the fact that this is the world's largest Starbucks, there was a line outside of people waiting to get in. Is that dramatically better than other options? Yeah, I guess it is. Then there's Tesla. And I have fortunately, I'm blessed to have personal firsthand experience with it. It completely redefined the driving experience. It is dramatically better than any car that ever preceded it. I can drive up an interstate highway at 80 miles an hour on curves and everything with no hands. I can summon the car out of my garage, and it will back out of a parking space or garage just by me pushing a button on my app if it's parked in a tight space. It's got music and entertainment systems that'll blow you away. It's got acceleration to go from 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds, faster than 99% of the cars that are out there. That's dramatically better. Then there's Pixar, and that isn't as new as some of these, but boy, did Pixar revolutionize animation, which was previously done by an army of designers like at Disney. drawing illustration after illustration after illustration, and then, creating animation out of all of that. And then you had Pixar, computer generated, a level of reality and detail and everything that you could never get from the old form of animation. So you can be dramatically better. Okay, we've seen now how you put a benefit together with a reason to believe and communicating difference. One brand that has put it together for decades is Bounty Paper Towels. They have wonderful benefit, reason to believe, and difference communication. It is almost unprecedented in the world of consumer products to be using the same advertising format for decades. But it's worked. They're the number one brand in a billion-dollar category. That kind of says it all. Let's take a look at one of the kinds of ads that they've been using for decades.
Bounty presents The Quicker Downhiller with Lindsey Vonn.
When you live your life as an Olympic downhill skier, you can't let spills slow you down. That's why I use Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Bounty picks up spills quicker.
Nailed it.
And is 2 times more absorbent.
Boom.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper. Proud sponsor of the Olympic Winter Games 2018.
So about the time you thought it would take a whole lot of work and a whole lot of words and pictures to be able to put together benefit, reason, and difference communication, you can see how in 30 seconds, Bounty Paper Towels has put together a highly persuasive story that strongly incorporates benefits, the quicker picker-upper, reason to believe, the side-by-side, and difference. Well, it is the quicker picker-upper, both in terms of what they tell you it does, but also in the proof that they show. This is an example that I shared earlier where you can create competitive advantages through benefit and reason to believe communication. So in a Merwyn, you get a Merwyn score, and that Merwyn score is on your chances for long-term success, long-term defined as 5 years. And this score is on the persuasiveness of your marketing message, how strong your benefit, reason, and dramatic difference communication is. This is a score that ranks your chances for success versus all key ideas. It also determines opportunities to improve ideas and results by giving you some measure of the strength of your reason, benefit, and difference communication, where you have opportunities maybe to strengthen those. Tremendously valuable feedback on ideas that come out of your creative session. Okay? This allows you to make smarter and better decisions. It is research results you can get in two weeks or less. It is the lowest cost option by a wide margin with an accuracy that's equal to or greater than any of the other options like at Bases and Accupol. You also get a year one sales projection. And this year one sales projection gives you different scenarios based upon the levels of distribution and awareness of the product that you can create. You probably want to set a standard of we know at a minimum we can achieve this distribution level, and at a maximum we could probably get to this, and do the same thing for awareness. It'll give you the range in which you'll have year one, and the sales estimates are accurate plus or minus 20%, which are the same as you'll get from Bases, which is a whole lot more expensive and a whole lot more slower, much slower. So again, a very, very valuable piece of information to help you make smarter and better decisions about all the ideas that come out of the creative session and which ones you want to take to the next level. Okay? Important stuff here. So you can, a little bit of perspective on the inputs. After you get the report, if you change the marketing message or other key inputs, it will change your year one sales estimate. As I said, you get feedback that will help make might say that you've got an opportunity to have stronger and better benefit communication. You can go to work on that. Same thing for reason to believe and other sorts of things. You also need to realize that the awareness and distribution numbers in there are critical to the accuracy of the year one sales estimate. Put in fantasy numbers and you're going to get fantasy results, so keep it real. Well, what Merwyn is all about is helping you achieve success. It gives you that early priority setting and identification on ideas, feedback improvements, and focus on critical idea elements that are necessary to optimize the persuasiveness of your idea. When you do that, you're more likely to achieve success. Again, you really want to take a look at including professional concept and marketing message writing capabilities in terms of what you do. I'm saying that in the absolute, but I'm also saying it because at Innovate Grow Experts, this is exactly what we have done many, 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 many times. So, Merwyn, good stuff. Before we get on to the next and final part of this training video, I'm going to ask you to kind of reflect a little bit. Reflect on how you can use in your world what you've learned in these first training videos. Where do you need in your business innovations that are dramatically better than your competition so you can build market share, increase sales, and increase profits? What opportunities are there for you to enter adjacent categories to your current business? And by the way, when you go to enter adjacent categories, you better enter there with dramatically better products, because there are already many largely satisfied customers in that new category that you want to go into. And they're going to wonder why they should buy from you even more than if you're trying to create dramatic improvements within an existing category. So the bar is necessarily set high if you want to go into an adjacent category. And if you want to go into a category that's brand new for you and your company, you also need to be dramatically better. They might not recognize your brand. They may not give you any credit for the success that you've had with other products. You need to be able to sell and stand on your own two legs with the product benefits, reason to believe, and dramatic difference that you can communicate to them. So I urge all of you, there's no need to continue this 75% to 80% failure rate. There isn't. We have the tools and capabilities to consistently double your innovation success rate by achieving a standard, by achieving a goal that probably you haven't stretched for before. Maybe you've been afraid you couldn't achieve it, but please let go of that fear. You now have the 8 best innovation best practices that can help you accomplish that consistently doubling your innovation success rate by delivering multiple highly meaningful benefits that add up to being dramatically better. Okay, so let's move on to this final section where we try and put it all together for you. At the end of this video, like I have on the others, if you want to contact me with questions, comments, or anything, I give you my email and my cell phone. Email me, call me. Glad to have a conversation, glad to help. Okay, let's wrap this up by giving you a plan to put all the innovation best practices together and getting them to work side by side to help you achieve those challenging objectives that can help you to consistently double your innovation success rate. So here's the plan, 6 steps. Start by creating a vision of success. Very critical. You need to know where you're going, not on a very narrow dot, but with some breadth, yet some focus. That balance, it'll vary from program to program and need to need, but you do need a vision for success. You need to be able to stand in front of a creative group and say, hey, this is where we're going and what we need. Next, assemble the necessary capabilities, organize and conduct the creative session, harvest results, and select the highest priority ideas. So let me give you a little bit of more insight into each of these. A vision for success, one of the most important steps. Ambiguity is not necessarily a friend. Being too specific, you're not going to get out of the box if you do that. So again, the balance that I was talking about. To create a vision of success, you're talking about possibilities. And for that, we strongly suggest that when you go through a process to establish the vision for success, that it again be a creative collaboration between internal and external resources. External resources will get you out of the box thinking, will help you see new possibilities, bigger possibilities than just the internal people alone can, to help identify what innovation and business success look like. Next, you want critical time to set the bar for success at delivering, again, that objective that doubles your innovation success rate. Highly meaningful benefits that add up to being dramatically better than your competition. I should also add that in creating the vision for success, it's often a good time to ask an opening question. What business are we really in? And you are probably aware that when Steve Jobs essentially asked this question around the year 2000, it was the Apple Computer Company, and he, with his team, probed, what business are we really in? Well, after some work, they ended up redefining the business that they were in as being the digital hub of the home. Look at what that did to unleash a world power innovation team on major new possibilities. That's what asking that question can help you with. I also helped a major client asking them a question, what business are you really in? And they didn't really know I was going to ask this question because I wanted a bit of the element of surprise and challenge them and shock them and a bit surprise them. And the president of the company, who was in the creative session, when I asked that question, said, Richard, look at the label on our products. It says, that's the business we're in. To which I said very respectfully, yes, Mike, that's the business you're currently in. And we went on to have a very vigorous, sometimes contentious discussion that ended up redefining the business they were really in a way that opened up innovation possibilities that prior to asking that question were not seen, were not on the table in any way, shape, or manner. And it immediately resulted in them introducing an entirely new type of product that turned out to be a over $100 million year one sales product, which was the biggest new innovation in the history of a company that had been around quite a while. That's the power of asking that question. It isn't always appropriate, but it is a more appropriate question to ask than you might think. So I put that out there for you. Second step, assemble the necessary capabilities. This is really primarily about talent. Identifying the critical part, the people needed in the creative session, the best internal expertise to achieve success. I've asked you to think broadly, but I'm also thinking that you want people who want to be there, people who are passionate about solving the problem you're trying to solve or optimizing the opportunity that's available to them. They really care, because then they are going to give you the best ideas. Then you want the relevant external expertise that does not duplicate the internal expertise. Remember the Nestle example, going out and finding those world-class experts who were doing research in exactly the area that Nestle needed, professors at Cornell, Penn State, and Ohio State. Carefully review and vet these people. Make sure that you get the right people, no big egos, collaborators, that sort of thing. Go back to the advice I gave you in that video. And make sure that you include professional innovators for best results. These are people like myself and my team that have done many projects, and we see possibilities that the best of experts and internal people just aren't going to see. Just go back to the Gatorade example that I had for you in the video earlier. Kerry McNamara was that professional innovator leading the Gatorade project. Okay. Third, Organize the creative session. Plan the right steps and the right sequence. Typically, you start with business basics, then customer insights, then worldwide recent developments, then external experts present stimulus and information, then review progress versus the goal, stimulus to make existing ideas dramatically better, further build and establish some preliminary priorities. That's pretty much the sequence. There are some variations to that, of course, but that's a good place to start. Make sure that you develop all the stimulus and creative exercises prior to the session. All of it. Okay? A step-by-step plan. This is when I play that role for a client, a tremendous amount of work to put all this together and a minute-by-minute plan. And then have a plan to capture ideas and track progress towards your vision of success. We often use large cards, have people write the ideas very extensively. Putting them on walls in various categories gives me an instant way to measure how are we doing in progress versus our goal of delivering on the vision for success. In running the session, you saw this same slide in the earlier one on quantum idea generation. You want tables of 4 people at round tables. Just as you have diversity in the overall creative session, you want diversity at each of the tables. Okay? This is a very important executional element. Okay? Carefully choose the assignments that you make. So, step 4 is conduct the creative session. You got to deal with fear from the start. As we talked, everyone has some. You want to have those one-on-one conversations with senior leaders, and the kind of conversations I have saying, you're a senior leader here. You've got some of the people that work for you in this room. Here's what I really need you to do. You're going to hear ideas that are some of the worst ideas that you've ever heard, and you've got to be a good poker player. No rolling of eyes, no shaking of head, no downcast looks, none of that. We cannot have judgment going on in the course of the session. Your people will shut down if you do that. So, start the session, stay positive. Structure and freedom are the keys to a successful creative session. You want to have creative exercises that have an objective stimulus, personal idea creation, sharing and building in round 1 and 2, and then total group share. Okay, so that's kind of like your structure. But within the structure, pure freedom to explore wherever you go and create wild and wacky ideas. Okay? You want to have the structure in which people can have freedom, and that's where the big progress happens. As I said, constantly measure progress, adjust. When I walk into a creative session, I have, besides all the stimulus organized and all that sort of stuff, I have a minute-by-minute plan for the entire 2-day session, if it's a 2-day session. Minute by minute. Well, about the only thing that happens according to the plan is good morning and welcome, the starting. After that, it's adjust. I have creative exercises. As we go with the flow of the creative session, adjustments need to be made. I have a playbook, a 3-ring binder of more than 100 pages of different creative exercises. And if I need to make adjustments, and I always do, I go to that playbook, pull out a different creative exercise and process, and fit it to where the needs are and what we need to do to get the best ideas. So that's how you conduct a creative session. Harvest results. About 75% through the session, assess where you are. How close are you to achieving innovative solutions that have multiple highly meaningful benefits that add up to being dramatically better than the competition? Take a look at it. If you're using the process that I talked about putting cards on the wall, constantly read the ideas, listen to the ideas that are being shared within the group, compare where you are to the vision for success. Where are you? In almost all cases, you're going to want to launch stimulus to challenge the group to achieve dramatically better. As I mentioned back in quantum idea generation, we have stimulus that's inspirational and mind expansion stimulus to open people up to new possibility. You probably want to go back and visit more types of innovation and value dimension stimulus. Okay? Remember, you need to bring the ship in to a place that achieves that vision for success, achieves or exceeds the expectations of it. Okay? That's harvesting creative session results. Select the highest priority ideas in the creative session. You want to conduct initial big idea identification. Teams can select their best ideas. The entire group from the session can identify the top 10 to 20 ideas. Sometimes you can use group voting, put the concepts up on the wall on flip charts, have people vote on with dots on it. Don't use that as the final definitive thing. It's kind of like a sense of the wisdom in the room at that point in time. It's guidance. It's not the final decision. And after you have the session's top idea development, you want to move into testing. That's what we talked about. You want to go to professional concept writing to optimize the persuasiveness of the marketing message that you submit to Merwyn Technology. We've written hundreds of them. And those of you that are listening to this may have written a few. And we're professionals both in what Merwyn Technology tells us about the science of persuasion, but just having done many, many, many of these. So you really want professional concept writing to optimize the persuasiveness of your idea while telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Okay, then Merwyn Technology Research produces the Merwyn Truth Teller reports, and then with that information you can work with company leaders to identify which ideas you want to go ahead with, like prototype development. Whew. Boy, we've covered a lot, given you a lot of learning that can truly help you achieve dramatically better innovation results in the next 90 days. Feel free to go back over all of the videos, revisit those things that you didn't get as well as you'd like to the first time. There's a lot of information here. So listening to it a second or third time, refresher 2 or 3 months down the road, all of that can be very helpful to you. Well, you've heard enough of me talking, I'm sure. I want to thank you very much for your time and your effort. I absolutely wish you well in going forward. You have what you need to achieve dramatically better innovation results in 90 days or less. If you need help, contact me. As soon as this slide is gone, you'll see how to email me or call me on my cell phone. I've in several places in these videos, I've given you suggestions on how you can learn more. Here's another one. Read some of Doug Hall's books, Jumpstart Your Business Brain, and his newest book, Innovation Engineering. Doug is very good at what he does, and I have a lot of respect for his work. So again, thank you. I wish you well, and I hope we connect down the road.